Yo, what's up everybody? Jumping here. Today, I wanted to talk about Monster Hunter World, which is a brand new game that recently came out. I've been playing it for 3 days now, so I feel pretty confident in coming out and kind of giving my opinion on it. And I guess the first thing I'll say is I really am having a blast with this game. It's a lot of fun, okay? This is a really fun game. But I have to warn anyone who's watching this and you haven't played the game yet or you're on the fence, if you do not like grinding games, do not play this game because this is a super grindy game. If you love to grind games and you like to just waste countless hours doing stupid stuff because you're trying to get some cool looking armor or something, this is the game for you. And that's the type of person I am. I love to grind games. I love Borderlands, I like Destiny, I like Diablo, I like a bunch of games where it's all about the grind. You gotta grind, you gotta get on and grind. And this is definitely one of those games. So this is a great game for me. And let me tell you, I was freaking so bored. It was ridiculous. I was about to put a bullet in my brain. I was so bored. So I was actually really happy when this came out because I was pretty much like, thank God I have something to do now and I won't be in Logan Paul's next video because it was really, really bad on how bored I was getting. Now, when it comes to Monster Hunter, this is a good game. Now, this is a really fun game with the multiplayer as well. Like, this is a game, if you have some friends and you can convince them to get this, or maybe game share it with them or something, definitely do that. And it doesn't matter if you have a bunch of friends, if you have just one person you want to play with, this is a really fun game with 2-player co-op, with 3-player co-op, or with 4-player co-op. So this is definitely a game that if you have friends, you should definitely try it out and play it because you and your friends can have a lot of fun. I am having a lot of fun with my friends. And these are people I played Destiny with, I played Mass Effect with, and a couple people I've been playing for a long time with. And yeah, I mean, that's great. And we're all having a really good time with the game. Now, the combat is actually really fun. Like, there's no doubt about it. Now, the weapons are all really cool. And they have a lot of different moves, and they are just totally unique, and that's awesome. But there's only 14 of them. And Bloodborne was another game where there was also like maybe 14 weapons in the entire game. Now, you could argue that in Bloodborne, the weapons could transform, and a lot of them were different and unique, and people complained about that. People complained about that a lot. That was like the #1 biggest gripe, and everyone used that to say that it was a bad game. Like, what the hell? Like, no, it wasn't a bad game because it didn't have a lot of variety like Dark Souls. But maybe that was the thing because people wanted to compare it to Dark Souls. And I have heard people compare this game to Dark Souls, which I would not compare this game to Dark Souls. If I was to compare this game to something like Dark Souls, I would compare it to Nioh. Because with Nioh, there was a lot of grindiness with that game. And this game has a lot of grindiness to it as well. But I really wouldn't even compare it to Nioh because it is its own kind of unique thing. And that's really great. So overall, I think the combat is a lot of fun. I definitely am enjoying the co-op. Like, that's the biggest selling point of the game. It's the fun times that you can have with the co-op. Even if you're playing with random people, it can actually be a lot of fun. So don't let yourself be discouraged if you don't have a lot of friends. So I would definitely recommend it on those things. Now, there are a couple things I have to talk about because I found them to be really funny. And it's kind of interesting to me because I've seen a lot of reviews for this game where it's kind of crazy to me because people are like kind of talking about this game like it's the best game ever. Now, like I said, it's a good game, it's a fun game, and it's a game that you should check out and play if you meet those criterias, because you have to pretty much be into this kind of thing. The grindiness, the co-op, and all that type of stuff. But there are some problems, there's no doubt about that. The first thing that really kind of bugged me was when you start the game off, you do like some type of tutorial mission, and you're like, oh hey, I'm doing a tutorial mission. Okay. And then you're going, and then all of a sudden they throw you into an online world, and you're like, oh, this is cool, man. I'm going to go to, like, this area. Maybe it would be, like, the tower from Destiny. That's what I was thinking, at least. Oh, this is going to be awesome. Running around this, like, area, and there's going to be all these people, and you go there, and it's a ghost town. No one's there. You're like, what's going on, man? It says I'm in a lobby, and there's all these people, but where are they? You can't find them. Now, there is an area you can go to, and you can actually kind of interact with people and see them and stuff. But in the general area, like the little hub area, there's nobody there. You're alone. It's a freaking ghost town. And that's the way the game is designed. So that was something that I thought was a little confusing, for sure. But the other big problem is it took me and my friends like 2.5 hours to get to the co-op. Because it wasn't one tutorial mission, it was a bunch of tutorial missions. But they don't really tell you that, and that was really annoying because we kept thinking that we were messing up, or that we didn't know how to do the multiplayer because we were trying really hard to do the multiplayer and we couldn't get the multiplayer to work. And the multiplayer setup, it's a little confusing. So yeah, that was a real nightmare. I kept saying like, please, like, can we play together? And then finally, after like 2.5 hours, we were able to play together. And then we actually had a lot of fun with the game. Because at first, I was really kind of getting annoyed. And I was really kind of getting mad. And then once we actually could play together, it was so much fun that I kind of forgot about all of that. But I did want to give that warning now that if you get this game and you plan on playing it with your friend, just be prepared that it's going to take a little bit before you can actually do the co-op. And don't actually get confused because, trust me, the game is designed for you to play by yourself at first and then I guess learn the game. And then you can go in and play with your friends and all that type of good stuff. Now, another problem with the game is the story. Now, honestly, I haven't really paid attention to the story all that much. It's not terribly interesting. And that's something, I guess, that could be a negative, at least for me. Remember, this is all my opinion. Maybe you will play the game and you find the story to be amazing. But to me, I didn't really find it to be interesting. I tried to get into it, but it was so distracting. Like, the story to this game is distracting. And a game like this doesn't really need a story because it's really all about going and killing monsters with your friends. I mean, that's what the game is designed to do, and it does that part really well. But this little story they have in here, it's so distracting because of the voice acting. They do not have the full game voice acted. Now, the Japanese version of this game, I'm 100% sure it is fully voice acted. But the Western version, maybe Capcom was worried about it because Monster Hunter is a huge thing in Japan. And I don't know like how big of a Western appeal the game was going to have. Now, I've seen a lot of people hyping this game up. So I'm assuming that the game probably did okay. But I think Capcom was worried because they straight up was being cheap. And they did not actually hire voice actors to fully voice the game. There are some parts that are voice acted. And that's where it gets really confusing with the story because you are hearing somebody talk and they're talking and all of a sudden they say something like, hey, how you doing? And then they just stop talking and now you have to read and you're like, what just happened? Like, I'm so confused. I don't mind reading a story. That's fine, but it gets so distracting and confusing where it's constantly like this person is talking and then they are still talking and then they stop talking and now you have to read. And then, like, you read a little bit and you go ahead and get to the end of that and they start talking again. You're like, what is going on here? Like, why are they doing it like this? And it's just because they did not actually fully voice act the game for the Western release. And that was kind of confusing for sure. Now, the other thing is the lips are not synced at all because, of course, they are actually speaking Japanese and their lips are moving because they're speaking Japanese. And they did not change that in any way. And that even makes it more confusing because, once again, you're playing and they're talking and their lips are moving when they shouldn't move. And you're like, wow, man, this is like an old Kung Fu movie or something. Like, this is crazy. And then all of a sudden they stop talking because now you have to read the text. But their lips are still moving. And you're like, dude, really? Are you serious? Why is his lips moving still? Those things like really got me out of the story. I couldn't focus on it because I was getting so terribly distracted by those things. I eventually just started skipping a lot of the text because I'm like, I don't really want to read this shit. I'm pretty much tired of the story. It's not interesting. And on top of that, I just want to go hunt some monsters with my friends. And that's what we did every time. And we had a lot of fun doing that. So I would not buy this game for the story. I'm just saying. And the problems with like the lip syncing and also like just the not being voice acted, those are things that I just find to be really crazy. And I guess the other thing I should mention is the graphics aren't anything super special. They're okay, I guess. I mean, they're fine. But I don't know. If you like to look at really pretty games, this is really not a super pretty game. I mean, there's some cool things in the game. But in terms of like beautiful graphics, nope, it does not have that either. But At the end of the day, it's a fun co-op experience, that's for sure, and the combat is actually a lot of fun. There's not a lot of variety in the weapons, but the weapons that are there, a lot of them are actually really fun. Overall, like I said, it's a great game. I would recommend it still 100%, especially if you like to grind games and you have some friends to play with, or if you just enjoy playing co-op with people because you can play with random people, you can help people. It's a great game for those things, and that's why you should buy it. And of course, I will make videos on this game. I'm going to get to the end game. I'm going to grind, and then I'm going to make build videos probably, things like that. Or I might make like hard fight tutorials, like how to beat this really hard fight, because I'm sure that would be actually something that people would be interested in. But that's going to pretty much do it. I just wanted to give you guys my initial thoughts after playing it for 3 days. I wanted to talk a little bit about some negatives in the game just because I haven't heard people really talk about these things. I guess they just don't have a problem with it, where I actually did have a problem with it. I just was really disappointed that I couldn't get into the story. I mean, it just was impossible when I'm constantly getting distracted by all this stuff that's going on. Like I said, there are problems with the game, but overall, it is a really fun game, and I would recommend it. So that's going to pretty much do it. I really hope that you have enjoyed this. If you have, I would really appreciate it if you could like the video for me. Be sure to subscribe for future videos, and I really do hope that everyone has a very nice day, and peace out.